The 12 Labors of Hercules. It seemed that history was repeating itself. Hercules had completed 7 impossible labors already, and his reputation was once more growing among both mortals and the gods. With the help of his friends, he had driven the mares of Diomedes to the sea. Yet Thracian soldiers, the Bistones, had attempted to reclaim the beasts. In order to repel this threat, Hercules had left the care of the horses to Abderos, but the creatures, black-haired and wild, had dragged his friend to his death. Hercules captured the horses, took them to Eurystheus, even founded the city of Abdera in memory of Abderos. Still, the truth remained. Once more someone close had died because of him. Hercules was once a hero, and heroes have further to fall. He had married Megara, the beautiful eldest daughter of King Creon, and together they bore children, at least 3, and perhaps as many as 8. But all was not perfect for Hercules. Despite his status as a great soldier and hero, he was not loved or admired by all. Hera, the queen of the gods, loathed him, because Hercules was born the bastard child of one of Zeus's numerous affairs. She cursed him, and in a state of momentary insanity, Hercules turned on his own family, slaughtering them. Too late, the goddess Athena arrived and knocked the madman unconscious with a stone. Hercules slept, but when he awoke and realized what he had done, he was distraught. In desperation, he vowed to kill one more person, himself. Yet his madness was Hera's fault. Confused, he consulted with Apollo. The god advised that he return to the kingdoms of Mycenae and Tiryns to serve as penance his hated cousin. Eurystheus would become his master for 12 long years. Eurystheus presented Hercules with 10 tasks to undertake, each designed to humiliate, or better still, kill him. Firstly, he was sent to destroy the Lemian lion and return with the creature's skin. The fearsome beast was immune to attack from weapons. Only a human hand could harm it. Hercules tracked down the lion and fired an arrow into its rippling flanks. It simply bounced off. But Hercules knew he was paying a penance for killing his children, and if he died in the process, it was no more than he deserved. He rushed into the lion's den and, evading the slashing claws and tearing teeth, managed to climb onto the beast's back, grabbing it around the neck. Squeezing tight, he held on until the lion's bucking and twisting weakened. Its head ceased to thrash, and slowly the light of life left its eyes. Still, though, the task was incomplete. Hercules must return to Eurystheus with the creature's hide. But not even the sharpest sword could pierce that toughened skin. Hercules was a resourceful man. Grasping the lion's enormous paw, he ripped at a claw and tore the sickle from its bloodied bed. He sliced it into the creature's back and removed the hardening hide. Shocked that he had completed the task, Eurystheus sent Hercules off once more. "Kill the Lemian Hydra," he instructed. Hercules lured the 9-headed monster from its lair by launching a burning arrow into the writhing beast. As it emerged to destroy its tormentor, Hercules slashed at its heads. But as one fell to the ground, so 2 more sprouted in its place. Hercules was not alone in the task. His nephew Iolaus had accompanied him, and together they triumphed. While fang-crammed heads swung at him, Hercules continued to slash away. As they fell, one by one, Iolaus stepped in with a burning brand, cauterizing the bleeding stumps to stop them growing anew. In this way, the Lemian Hydra was destroyed. Eurystheus was furious when he heard the news, as was the goddess Hera. More subtlety was needed to humiliate Hercules. His third task would require intelligence and strategy, not just raw power. He should capture the golden hind of Cyrenea. The gigantic golden horn creature could run faster than storm-driven clouds. It was also a sacred pet of the goddess Artemis, and Hercules tried everything to capture the creature unharmed. For a year he chased it across nations, and finally, desperately, felled the animal with an arrow. As he arrived at the palace with the injured beast on his shoulders, Artemis stopped him. Only when he explained the reason for capturing the hind did Artemis relent from issuing punishment of her own. She healed the hind, and, fully recovered, it bounded away with her before Eurystheus could take it as his own. Thus, Hercules completed his task, while the hind retained its freedom. Eurystheus was not finished. Next, he sent his cousin to capture the Erymanthian boar, a gigantic animal living on a mountainside. Humans, animals, buildings, all were crushed under its lumbering charges. But faced with a determined hunter such as Hercules, the boar ran until exhausted, and was easily captured. His fifth labor was an unusual one. Eurystheus demanded that the Augean stables, home to 1,000 cattle, be cleaned for the first time in 30 years. A humiliating task, surely made impossible by the instruction that the work be completed in just one day. Their owner, the crooked Augeas, offered Hercules 10% of his stock if he should succeed. Hercules surveyed the scene. Nearby the rivers of Peneus and Alpheus flowed. Muscles rippling, he shifted a rock, diverting the rivers. They rushed through the stables, bleaching them clean. Hercules waited for his reward, but Augeas reneged on his promise. Hercules was not a man to be short-changed, and exacted swift revenge, before passing the stables to Augeas' son. Although Eurystheus was failing to humiliate Hercules, his kingdom was being relieved of many problems. Next were the Stymphalian birds. These terrible bronze-beaked creatures ate flesh, flew on metallic feathers, and spread poisonous dung. It seemed as though defeating them would finally deter Hercules. Numerous, deadly, and able to fly, he could not destroy them. But the gods were smiling on him. Athena offered a crotala, a loud clapper with which he could disorientate the birds. Scaling a mountain, Hercules sounded the crotala. Terrified, the creatures flew in disarray, allowing him to pick them off with his slingshot and bow. The destruction of another deadly creature was to be his seventh labor. The Cretan bull, father of the Minotaur, was passing through Crete, destroying everything in its path. But as powerful as the beast might be, its journey through the Mediterranean island helped Hercules. Minos, the king of Crete, assisted him, and together they were able to creep up on the bull and capture it. After seizing the mares of Diomedes, Eurystheus had just 2 tasks left with which to humiliate, perhaps even destroy his cousin. This time, he believed he could set a task that no man, not even one as great as Hercules, could perform: obtaining the belt of the mighty Amazonian queen, Hippolyte. Once more Eurystheus underestimated his servant. Hippolyte recognized heroism in others. Admiring Hercules' skills, she offered the belt as a gift. But then came a twist. Hera had disguised herself as an Amazon, and, seeing Hercules succeed in his task, spread the rumor that he intended to kidnap Hippolyte. The Amazons were fooled, and set about attacking Hercules and his friends. In the unfortunate battle that followed, Hippolyte was killed. Just one labor remained, the toughest to date. On the island of Erythea resided Geryon, son of Titans, descendant of the Gorgon Medusa. The fearsome beast possessed 3 heads and 6 legs. Hercules' task was to capture Geryon's cattle. He landed on the island and faced immediate attack from Geryon's servant and his slathering 2-headed hound. Hercules had no choice but to kill his assailants, and when news of this reached Geryon, he set about hunting down Hercules himself. but even the creature's massive size was no match for Hercules' arrows. As the monster died, Hercules rounded up his cattle, no small task in itself, and returned to Greece. He had succeeded. He had completed the 10 labors set for him, but still Eurystheus was not satisfied. "You had the help of your nephew to kill the Lemian Hydra," he sneered. "And it was not you who cleaned the Augean stables, but the flow of the rivers." Hercules nodded. The claims were exaggerations of the truth, but his tasks were steps towards his own rehabilitation. The world was becoming a more peaceful place, and the people of the kingdom were starting to see the fruits of his labors. Hercules was on the path to redemption. Humbly, he offered to complete 2 additional challenges, the toughest yet. Eurystheus coveted that which he could not have, including golden apples which grew in the garden of Hesperides. Hercules must travel there and steal them, evading nymphs, the daughters of Atlas, and the 100-headed dragon which guarded the orchard. Hercules had no clue to where the garden lay. Eventually, he found himself at Mount Caucasus and discovered Prometheus, who had given fire to mankind. As punishment for this, the gods had chained him to a rock and tortured him by having an eagle tear at his liver. After the bird left, his liver would grow back, and the agony endured once more the next day. Hercules freed Prometheus, and in return the old man told him how he could get the apples. Find Atlas, relieve him from carrying the earth on his shoulders, and the god would collect the fruit. A good plan, until Atlas refused to take back the weight of the world. But Hercules was shrewd. "Carry the world for a moment?" he asked, "while I put on pads to protect my shoulders." Once Atlas took hold of the burden once more, Hercules collected the apples and delivered them to Eurystheus. The final labor of Hercules was the most dangerous of all. He was charged with capturing Cerberus, guardian of the underworld. Cerberus was the most fearsome creature imaginable. Serpent-tailed, snakes writhing from its spine, its triple hound head slathering mercilessly. After many months, hardships and battles, Hercules came upon Hades, the god of the underworld, who promised he would give Cerberus to him if he could defeat the beast using just his own hands. And Hades was as good as his word. The fight was fearsome, Hercules enduring deep wounds from the teeth of the hounds, poison from the snakes, and slashes from the serpent tail. But his faith was true, his spirit unbroken, and his search for redemption so strong that Cerberus was defeated, and Hades sent the creature with Hercules to Eurystheus. The labors were completed. Hercules was redeemed. There was more. Zeus, his father, was so proud that he decreed that upon Hercules' death he would become immortal. Hera, too, realized that she had underestimated the man. It was not his fault. He was the result of one of his father's illicit liaisons. She forgave him for being who he was, and presented her daughter, Hebe, to become his wife. Hercules could begin his life once more.